Sex, sex toys, pleasure, and play. Most of us seek out intimacy in one manner or another, but for so many women, their intimate lives fall short. Cultural shaming, long-standing taboos, and a lack of education about options and opportunities prevent them from having an empowering experience in the bedroom. What does a resource that provides information about all aspects of sexual pleasure look like? What might it do for you? Welcome to GynoCurious. I'm your host and creator, Dr. Amy Novatt. From both sides of the speculum, we're here to investigate what it means to be a healer and to be healed. Please write to us at comments@radiofreerhinecliffe.org. And if you have questions about my clinical practice, please go to dramynovatt.com. Also, please, while you're listening right now with your device in your hands, go to the show, follow us, share, promote the show so that I can continue to do Gyno Curious and to share the wisdom of my guests with not only you, but others as well. So today's guest is Alexandra Fine. I call her Al, so I'm going to call her Al throughout the show. Al is a CEO and co-founder of Dame, a sexual wellness company on a mission to close the pleasure gap. And she is a self-described positive vibe slinger and sex educator. Welcome, Al.
Thanks. I'm so happy to
It's
be here.
it's so nice to see you. And
Mm,
I'm hoping that everyone can see this on YouTube or some of the reels, but Al's background are products that she and I are going to talk about shortly that Dame makes. And it's just this beautiful array of blue boxes with all kinds of products. So I guess you have to start with, how did you get into the world of intimacy and products? Kind of share your arc with us, if you would, please.
yeah, I mean, like the shorter story is I really wanted to be a sex therapist for a long time. I got my master's in clinical psychology, and I was always really passionate and interested in our sexual journeys, especially those of us who are in a female form. And it was really like for me, the first place I just experienced a double standard.
Mm.
And I think that that really sparked something inside of me. This like, oh, as a woman, you're supposed to like more than anything else, like find a sexual mate, right? Like that's kind of the goal that you're implicitly told, but you're also not supposed to find a sexual mate, because that would be slutty.
Forever the
And
virgins. Hmm.
right. It was, there was just like this really interesting dichotomy there. And I was just so curious. I was just a very curious little girl with a lot of energy and spunk. And I think that that naturally made me sexually curious. And so then I went to college. I got my master's in psychology. Well, it wasn't grad school. I got my master's in psychology. I absolutely loved this topic. I mean, like everything from, what makes a marriage last to like, what's the experience of a pedophile, like I was just interested in it all. I thought it was so fascinating. And then after I got my master's, I was like, I'm just going to take a little break. I saw my friends were moving forward in life in a way that I was like, oh, I'm still in school. And I ended up working at a small consumer goods company selling all natural baby shampoo. And I loved entrepreneurship. My husband mentioned just last night, he was like, I remember you always said that like, I was complaining about how sometimes I feel like I don't actually get to do the work.
Mm.
Sometimes I don't really feel like my day to day, I'm talking to women about and men about sex and helping people get more connected to their bodies. Sometimes I'm like looking at a cash flow and inventory management model. But on the flip side of that, I do get to touch more people through Dame. And I was really that is one of the things that drew me here was like, I think I can make a bigger impact on the world through a brand than making maybe deeper impacts on individual people as a therapist.
I like that differentiation. And you're right. I think there are different personalities that might go down each path. Would you say that Dame has fulfilled that vision for you and in terms of feeding who you are and being an entrepreneur?
I don't know.
Hmm.
The pleasure gap still is there, but I do think it's making an impact in the world for sure.
Yeah.
And that's very cool. And it really, in some ways, really feeds my soul. And then there are days that I wake up and I'm like, man, it would be cool to be a therapist.
I think that that's just part of being an adult, right? That work is hard. Work is both fulfilling and challenging. And there are days where hopefully you get great joy from it, but there are days where it just feels like a burden. So I hear you.
And I was
Let's
just
talk.
hanging out with some therapists who were like, tired. They were saying,
Right,
it's
right,
all,
right.
you're right. Like it's all hard
Hmm.
and such is life.
Yeah. Well, I think what you've done is terrific. And I want to explain, I want you to explain to those who are listening the pleasure gap. What do you mean by that?
I think people more easily kind of understand the concept of the orgasm gap.
Mm,
So I think the pleasure gap is more encompassing, but it's really just the difference between genders in their experience of pleasure. Women are 4 times more likely than men to say sex has been not at all pleasurable. That study's from 2010. So somebody's got to redo that study. Maybe it's us. I don't know. But there's also orgasm differences, and I think that it really speaks to just gender equality, like power dynamics in general. I think people in power feel more entitled to pleasure and joy. Like it would be a real sign of gender equality when the pleasure gap is gone.
yeah. Some newer data that I heard was that 95% of men, penis havers, when they have sex, have orgasms. 40% of women will have orgasm. And they're when in relationship with each sexual encounter. One night stands, 90% of men will orgasm. 15% of women will have an orgasm during a one night stand. So
Yeah, and
just think about how that impacts one's experience. Not that
totally.
orgasm defines, a
Right.
great intimate experience, but certainly most of us like to orgasm. And so if we can do it, why not pursue it?
Yeah.
I like that you use the word pleasure, however, in Dame's conversations, because as you just described, pleasure is not just about orgasm. Pleasure is about feeling good in our bodies, feeling good in our relationships, kind of the joy of intimacy and speaking out loud about it. Certainly, GynoCurious is all about just saying it out loud because for so long, certainly no one talked about pleasure for women.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much when it comes to women's experience that we don't say out loud. For so long, people wouldn't even say you were pregnant, you were at home with a condition, right?
Right, right.
That was the language used. It's so wild.
Euphemisms all around.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't help us. It just doesn't
No.
serve us. It hurts us, I think, in the long run. I think specifically for going back to sex, I think if we don't have a voice when it comes to sex and pleasure, then that means not only do we not have a voice for good things, but it also means we don't have a voice for when bad things happen either.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, no, if we're in a state of silence, if we're kind of paralyzed by all the social constructs out there that disempower us or again silence us, then yeah, we don't speak about any of it.
Right.
One of the things that you and I have talked about, Al, is how sexual health is a part of overall health.
Hmm.
And was there kind of a defining moment when you kind of understood that pleasure devices are actually kind of healthcare tools?
First of all, they kind of originally were healthcare tools. I mean, the stuff about doctors pleasuring, like that stuff's like debunked. It's not really true. Vibrators weren't really created to treat hysteria, but we do love that story because I think it does put it in the health field. But even originally, they were advertised as like rejuvenating devices. I think in psychology, which again was where I started, unlike what I think your experience was, so I'm not sure in the medical field. Freud, psychology, we are always talking about sex as an important part of our mental health, like in our subconscious at the very least. So there it was clearly understood as an important aspect of our identities and how we're feeling in the world and all of that. So I think that my education, it was just there. Sex therapists were recommending these tools. And that was a big insight for me. It was, okay, well, therapists are recommending these tools, but the way the vibrator creators out there, they're not really speaking the same language. And I wanted to make a product that spoke that language. There's just been so many other moments in my life that I can think of that have kind of reiterated that, when people have health crises,
I think.
crises. Oh, okay.
I think it might be one of those, yeah, that you just
One of those
yeah,
things that
think
you just
so.
crises. I think I made it way more complicated. Often sex becomes something they care about or are noticing, whether it's like it becomes a problem and it's part of your health. I think it's like a vital sign, as well as an input, so if we're really, really stressed, we have a harder time having sex. So I think that, okay, our lack of sex or lack of sexual desire can tell us something else about our lives. And also, when we have more sex, sometimes we sleep better, or it also brings down our stress. So it's both like an input and an output. You can also have an unhealthy relationship with sex. It's not inherently good or bad, which again is why I think it's so important that we talk about it so we understand what good, healthy sex looks like.
How would you define that?
I think good, healthy sex looks like something you're excited to have, that you enjoy having. And when you think back on it, it was something you're proud of, that you feel good about.
I like this concept of being proud of it.
Yeah.
Again, in a way, it's a response to all the shame. Instead you're saying, no, that was great. And I was a participant and I'm glad it happened.
I
Yeah.
think also sometimes we have sex and it's really good. And then maybe afterwards, if we have, well, there's two elements there, right? You can look back on it and you can feel bad because maybe you were doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. Maybe, I don't know. I think there's a lot there, but I think we also, and I don't know. I have to really think that through because I think also sometimes we try new things and it turns out we didn't like it, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean it was like, but it's then don't do it again.
Right.
Maybe or try it in a different way. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over again if it's not enjoyable. And
We
I
can be
also
proud of trying things too.
we can be proud of
Yeah.
trying things. We
Just
can be
that.
proud of the fact that we didn't like it
Right.
too.
Right.
I remember when I was younger, this feeling after I would masturbate of like shutting the lap. Like the second I was done, I was pretty disgusted with myself and like
Oh.
couldn't believe what I was watching. And I do think that there's an element of that I don't feel 100% that way now, but because I honor that my erotic self finds things that my non-erotic self finds disgusting.
Interesting. So you mean you were watching some porn
Yeah.
and self-pleasuring
And
and there
I
was
find,
shame around it afterwards.
yes. So now I don't have shame, but I still don't want to watch it if I'm not horny. Like I have to be in a certain mindset in order to think that butt stuff is sexy. If not, it's really gross. It's not sexy. Like, I don't know. And I also kind of love the naughtiness of it. So, like, sometimes when I think about what I'm doing, I do think that some of the thrill and the joy is that it's bad, right? Like being a little naughty, being more animalistic. And there's a line there that's good. And then there's a version of that that's like shameful and not good. And I don't know. I don't want sex to not be naughty. It should be a little
Listen, you're
naughty.
not, there are many, many folks who talk about the eroticism of the taboo.
It's
And that's been true over centuries, right?
so if I make
Um,
sex not taboo, what happens? Like, do we want it to stay a little taboo? Yes and no. I think, the problem, I mean, for me, the biggest problem is the way it's taboo for some and not taboo for others. Like that to me
right.
is really problematic.
Well, and I would go on to
Yeah.
say, Al, that I wonder whether some of the concern that you intuitively have, and I actually intuitively have, is that, the sex industry has historically really disempowered vulva havers. And so
Mhm.
maybe we're tapping into that too. So whatever erotica that we might read or porn that one might watch, if it disempowers the female in the environs, that might not feel good to participate in as a voyeur, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
right. And I'm also kind of thinking now too that like being animalistic, like begging for something or making somebody beg, like that, I guess I'm like kind of more in the kink space in particular right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's always going to be taboo, right? Because like this is not how I'm going to go about my day. I'm not going to start begging for things as, in my day-to-day life. Like, so I think we're okay. I think that kink is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, no matter what I do.
Listen, it's creativity, and
It
it's just
is.
creativity in the erotic space. And I certainly
And
hope,
play.
yeah, that we never get to a place where human imagination is so dulled or confined that we can't explore art in all of its forms, right?
Yeah.
And I think sexual play is very much in a way an artistic human experience or expression, and that's part of what Dame does well. I'm looking at the packaging. So just from the packaging, and then as one opens into the product, which I want to talk about now. So what are some of the products that Dame provides to women, men, others who want to explore the products?
Yeah, so we make a wide range of products, not all of which are vibrators, as you were alluding to. We make vibrators, we make lubricants, we make supplements that help with desire and decrease stress and promote connectivity. We make body positioning pillows that help lift up your hips during sex and help support your weight in a different position. We make a blanket to help keep your area clean. So, we make a wide range of products that can help you more easily connect with your intimacy. We also do condoms and STI kits to help people have safe sex. But on the fun stuff, the vibrators, that's what most people come for. Most of our products are clitoral focused because the clitoris is an important part of most vulva havers' pleasure journey. I think it's 70% of people report either needing clitoral stimulation in order to have an orgasm or prefer it. So our first product is Eva. Eva is a hands-free vibrator that has these
Mhm.
wings that tuck into the vulva, and then you can wear it while you're having sex. And this is the product that put us on the map. When I was
When was
26,
that? When was that? What year was that?
2014, so about 12
Wow.
years ago,
Mm.
when I was even younger. I'm old enough now to know that I'm still young, but I wasn't
Yeah.
then. When you're in
Yeah.
your 20s, you just like are convinced you're an adult. And now I'm like, oh, I still got like a long way to go. That's
What's that
cool.
expression? The youth is wasted on the young, something like
It's
that.
so
Yeah.
true.
It's
I
so true.
mean, anyway, so it's a hands-free vibrator that provides control stimulation hands-free. You can have penetrative sex with it. And this is the product that put us on the map. And then we also have, classic clitoral vibrators. We have a powerful wand that's kind of like a big motor on a stick, to internal products like our arc, which are designed to go inside of the vagina and apply pressure on the vaginal wall so you can explore internally as well. We also have a ring that can be worn on a penis that also vibrates in a way that hits the clitoris. So it's kind of a wide range of products, most of which are designed to provide clitoral stimulation,
Great. And
many
just
of
to
which are
remind,
designed for like partner play.
great. Just to remind the listeners out there, the clitoris is an organ that has an incredible nerve, multiple nerves, and the nerves are two
Like
types.
9,000 nerve
Yeah.
endings,
And they
something like that.
respond to vibration, they respond to deep and soft pressure, and they respond to heat, not to friction, interestingly enough. Penis havers need a certain amount of friction during penetrative sex for arousal. science is suggesting that friction is not really a part of the experience for a woman and her capacity to have pleasure and orgasm. So, yeah, we want to focus on the clitoris because for most women, that is where pleasure can be had. And what is great about these devices, when they're external in particular, is it really allows you to explore the whole clitoral anatomy, not just the tip, but the crura. There's like wishbone features to the clitoris that go deep and also superficial that these products can really address.
And they are also sensitive. However, I think most women find that their bulbs, which kind of go down into the labia, they're nicer warm-ups, you know? I think a lot of men discover the clitoris and are like, let me touch that. And it's like,
Right.
so being able to use a product or hands or anything to kind of orbit the area and warm it up and go slow and build sensation is key. Oh, you know what else? We also have a massage candle, which is probably one of my favorite products that we sell
Hmm. Tell
because
me about that.
okay, so it's a candle. You can light it. It comes in 3 amazing scents, and it's infused with kava kava, which is a muscle relaxer, and it melts at room temperature. It's soy-based, and then it has a spout, and you can pour it onto the body, and then your partner can rub it. You can use it as for a massage. And why I think it's one of my favorite products is for partner play. I think the thing that most couples need is to slow down. So I think it forces sensual foreplay and encourages it and makes that into the experience. And I think that leads to better sexual experiences.
And again, based on science, that we know women need foreplay. We need the capacity for the glands to secrete lubrication. We need the vagina to kind of expand. It takes time. And so anything, whether it's these devices or massage, again, erotica, whatever it takes to kind of slow things down, I absolutely agree with you, Al. Just physically, we need this to happen for
Well, you know
comfortable
what I really
penetrative sex.
love? I think they
What's
say it
that?
takes women, with a partner about 20 minutes to
Yep,
go
that's what
through
the
to
data.
that's what the data says.
Yep,
Alone without a partner, I think it's like 4, right? 4 or 6.
4 minutes.
And I know what I think. So I think it's not just, so it's not biological.
Right.
I mean, it is, but it isn't just the body, right? There's something else happening that is at a level of pattern that's still real and worth recognizing. And I know some women out there love being like, well, we can do it faster. Like it's them. But I mean, I don't know if it's them. I think that there's something about the femme experience or the vulva haver experience of needing safety, of needing certain things with a partner that are just true and important. I think it's safety. I think it's play. I think I get mad. I mean, I get mad and jealous at my husband all the time because I'll be the one to initiate, but he'll get there faster. Like he'll get really ready faster. And then he's moving too fast and I get annoyed. I get so annoyed. And I'm like,
I
why?
don't think you're alone. I
I'm
think
not
that this is a
alone.
talk
And
about the
it's a
pleasure
little
gap.
confusing for him because he's like, oh, well, you
Right,
initiated. You're the one.
right.
I was like, yes, I'm initiating, but I still need, we've been doing this for a long time together. I talk about sex all the time, and we still don't get it right all the time. And I'm still asking him to slow down all the time.
Yeah. Well, what you're pointing out, Al, is about communication. That even in long-standing established relationships and clearly very sex positive home life, etc., that it takes communication. And that what happens far too often in women I see in the office is they will talk about a challenge in the bedroom and we'll kind of start dissecting what happens. And I realize there's no conversation. It's just erection, penetration, orgasm for him, and done.
Yeah.
And the woman is often left just not even barely aroused, let alone, orgasmic, and feeling really
Used.
used. Yeah. That they've served their partner. And, pardon me for being so heteronormative, but this is what I'm hearing
It,
mostly
it's
about.
also a
And
heteronormative problem.
yeah,
You know, women who have sex with women don't have this issue. I mean, it's a heterosexual problem. And I
Mm.
think that a lot of women are taught that that's normal and they have a
Oh, yeah.
concept of duty sex, and a lot of men are
Mm-hmm.
taught that that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I think so much of the femme experience is that your shitty experience is normal. I think about that too for like pregnancy, which is, not easy. It's rough, but there's still things doctors can do to make it easier, and they should. We should
What
find
about
out.
menstruation? I
Oh,
mean, it starts at
menstruation.
puberty.
What about menopause? Oh my God,
Oh my.
menopause too. Menopause is like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay, great. It's hot, but science can do something about it. And science has really screwed up with women with menopause, but it seems like they're correcting it. So
It's happening. It's having its moment,
it's
and
having,
this is a good thing. I think that you're bringing up something important because I want to point out. Well, I guess let me ask you first. Do you know the demographics of your
yeah.
consumers? Can you describe in terms of genders and ages?
Sure. 70% of the people who buy from us have vulvas, but that means
Hmm.
30, and honestly, sometimes it goes up to 40% have penises, or that's what Google thinks they have. And I think that's really interesting. We have a lot of
Hmm.
partners that are buying the products. We have a lot of partners who want their partners to have a good time. Sometimes I think they're doing it the right way. And sometimes I wonder if they asked their wives if their wives wanted the vibrator. And 70% report being in committed relationships. I think that always surprises people. Married women are actually twice as likely to own a vibrator. This is not really as much for young single women as I think people think.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, in fact, what I find is older women are more interested and excited about having vibrators. I think that there's a lot there. Everything from just like, our nerve endings changing and like wanting a little bit more hot sauce to not caring anymore, like just ready to ask for what you want.
Hmm.
And I can tell you, like, Dame's core demographic is around like 35 to 45. I think that's also because it's my age. So that's like the people who found out about the brand first, kind of coming out from me. But when we are shown, we go viral on Facebook. If we get in the New York Times, 65 plus will be our number one demographic.
That's unexpected. And yet, what I love about this is that what I was going to point out is that you're never too young and you're never too old for any of
Yeah,
these products, and that
no.
anything that stimulates the blood flow in the pelvis, anything that can access places in the vagina that you can't either with a penis or your fingers or someone else's fingers, anything that allows you to expand your erotic zones or pleasure places is a good thing. And you're right. I think that older women, maybe get more empowered in the bedroom and say, listen, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to try. And I'm not so shamed about purchasing it.
I even think, like, for me, and I was pretty empowered. I was pretty like, I'm going to be a liberated sexual person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still like in your 20s. I think you can't do anything but follow a script.
Mm,
You just, thank God for the script too, a little bit, because I would have had no idea what to do. But like
right.
the first few times, you're kind of following a script of what you think sex is supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get older, you get to pull back that script and pick the pieces of it that really serve you and what doesn't. And I think that there's an element of that that is just natural and normal. And I
Mm.
also want to say, I actually remember the first time a gynecologist said this out loud, and I was young and I didn't like it. She said, well, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I didn't like that. I just didn't like, I don't know why I was so not into it. I think it's because I just didn't want to believe in aging yet or something. But there's a lot like blood flow, like continuing to have blood flow is helpful for atrophy, and there's a lot of truth in it. I think that like it's an over exaggeration,
It's
Um,
very mechanized. That's why
it's
we don't like
yeah.
it. I don't like that term. I think it's really important, like any other muscle group in the body, any other organ in the body. You do need to promote health. And there
Activate
are
it.
different ways, exactly. And there are different ways that different organs are supported in a healthy way or in a non-healthy way. In the pelvis just happens, that pelvic contraction that happens with orgasm, for example, is really good at toning the pelvic muscles. If
Mhm.
you're not doing Kegels on a regular basis or doing a lot of core work, then the pelvic muscles can get quite laxed. There's value in sexual play that's beyond just pleasure per se, but it's about health, which is what we were talking about earlier, that it's a
Mhm.
part of overall well-being, not just from an emotional point of view and connectivity with a partner, but an understanding of your own body and ways of maintaining pelvic health. Yeah.
You know what I want you to talk about?
What?
I want you to talk about testosterone.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's an interesting topic and there's a lot of conversation about it.
I
And
know. And
it's,
ever since we started talking about it, it's like the world overheard us
yeah,
and everybody's talking about it now. I think it's an exciting and interesting topic. From what I've learned from a certain gynecologist I talk to a lot, is it's also an important hormone in women's bodies as well. It's not just this male hormone. And they're starting to prescribe it to women, and it really helps with libido. It helps with other things too.
correct. The Menopause Society and the American College of OBGYN, they're very reserved about testosterone because the FDA hasn't approved its use in certain cohorts. And there's a lot of anecdotal experience. And the goal is to try to use science, of course, to guide us. And at this point in time, we know that testosterone given to postmenopausal women who have diminished libido can be very much assisted by using testosterone in a cream form. Unfortunately, there's no form that's made for women. You have to take a male dose and then cut it. Usually we talk about 1/10 of the dose. So it's cumbersome, where in Australia, for example, there are products that are made for women. In terms of testosterone for premenopausal women, that's not been approved yet, although there are more and more women using it, not only for libido, but there are women who anecdotally talk about how they just feel better on it. They just feel more energy, they feel more vigor, they just feel
Or
better.
mental acuity. And it's interesting that the research hasn't been done yet. And also, just it is also dangerous to take it if you are trying to conceive. So that's also worth noting. The number one thing that I find with women or people are coming to me is libido, is an interest in having more desire. And vibrators can help with that because
Absolutely.
they can absolutely help to a certain extent. Like they help because I think they're reminding you of what arousal. What one you can have arousal first, and arousal can create desire.
That's
But
right.
and I also think that they can help create spontaneous desire as well, simply because it's more in your mind, because you're closer to that experience, your body remembers it more, and therefore you're more likely for it to spontaneous happen as well. But I am really interested in testosterone to see where that research goes, because it does seem to be such a powerful. I want to say I think it's one of the few. I know people take sildenafil and they do it topically. It's really, again, more about arousal first and increasing sensitivity. I don't know how effective it really is orally, but testosterone, from what I've heard, does seem like it's really effective. And the other thing that I personally have found effective was Wellbutrin. Was
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, when I feel more spontaneous desire in my life, it feels like I'm happier.
Yeah. Well, people like to feel that lust. And what Al is speaking about for those listening is that there's kind of two desires. There's spontaneous desire and responsive or receptive desire. And for a long time, we used to think we'd have to have desire and then arousal and then orgasm and then resolution. And that was the old Masters and Johnson's linear approach. Now we know we use what's called a biopsychosocial model, which is a circular model in the way women experience sexual play. And what we're talking about is that there are many, many women who will describe, I don't even think about sex. It doesn't come to my mind, but my partner will initiate it. So then what happens is that because he or she is beginning to arouse me, then the desire comes in. And it's kind of like, oh, I'm in the bedroom, I'm getting a little aroused. And it's like, oh, yeah, I remember this feels good. Why didn't I think
Right.
about doing this? And that is a very, very common, normal scenario for many, many of us.
And valid, and like,
Yep.
that's great. Oh, this is going to be my controversial hot take, which is
Oh, yeah.
sometimes I feel a little bit like the world's been trying to convince women that because they're having receptive desire or receptive arousal, that's enough.
Women are not happy when they stop feeling lusty. They just
I
don't
want to
like
feel
it.
lusty.
Yeah.
Like, and as
And
I've been
so
going
the
through my motherhood
hmm
journey,
hmm
like the hormones make me feel less lusty sometimes, and I feel a little less like myself.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm scared of getting older.
Well, I want to remark on a few things. First of all, if anyone out there is asking about testosterone, please, you have to speak to your clinician about it. And it is a hormone that needs to be tested, meaning you have to see what levels, because one of the things we are appreciating scientifically is that everyone metabolizes testosterone very, very
Very differently.
differently. So that's different from progesterone and estrogen, where again, there's individual differences, but not in the extremes. And too much testosterone can be very androgenizing. If you're a vocalist, you want to be extremely careful. In fact, I'd say don't take testosterone because it really can change your vocal range. It can cause hair growth. It can change the way you distribute fat. It can change mood. So it's not a benign steroid. You have to be thoughtful about it. But Al, you've brought up something that's really important because we're really beginning to say during our hormonal shifts, is there a role in supplementing testosterone the way we talk about supplementing estrogen and progesterone in menopausal therapy?
I think it's a really interesting conversation. And, there's a lot of people out there also that feel like, the natural process is the best process. And there's just a lot. And I don't know, but I do think having the options out there is great, and having as much science so then you can make your own decision is what we all deserve. And also, I think some of those changes reverse and some of those changes don't reverse, especially like the vocal cord one. So even if you stop taking it, like your voice will be changed, I think, forever. So that's like a big deal.
It is a big deal. So you want to know, I mean, if you're, I don't know, a skin model and all of a sudden you start taking tea and you start getting acne from it, you need to know about that potential risk.
But the acne would go away? Question
Yes.
mark.
Mostly. But
Most.
but if you have terrible cystic acne and then you get scarring, so you just need to be informed, Al. Just as you're saying, you just want to be informed. So it's
Yeah.
not something you just order off the internet. But I
And we
want to
need more options. So this way you're not trying to take a tenth of the male dose, but you can take a 20th or, even less.
right. Well, and creams are tough. A dab of cream for me is a different for a dab of cream for you.
Yeah.
So you really need to work with a clinician who's experienced before you go there. I
And
really,
like, not only do our bodies respond to it differently once it is in our bloodstream, but our bodies take it up differently.
that's
Like
right.
my
That's
skin
right.
might absorb more, right, than your
That's right.
skin.
That's right.
It's really an art and a science, it sounds like.
Yes, indeed. Alrighty, so we are moving to a close, and I want you to tell everyone out there how they access Dame products, please.
You can go to dame.com where you can find all of our products. We are also available at select Targets and Walmarts. So those are some of the places you can
In
find
the
us.
blue box. And so again, it's DAME.com, and they are beautiful products, incredibly well made. Al has really put tremendous efforts to making sure they're safe and
We use
kind of
medical grade silicone
hmm
versus a lot of places use food grade. Again, it's another place where there's just not enough testing. So we really have just gone above and beyond with medical grade. Our products also use USB-C chargers. So you don't need a special charger just for your vibrator. You can charge our vibrators with your phone charger. And it's like another thing I'm really proud of.
Yeah, it's practical. and accessible. And I want to just talk about one product that you didn't mention, which is the product that has a suction device.
Air.
Where's that? Air. There it is. So Air is a product that I really want folks to know about. It is this beautiful, simple, small device that has a suction that can be changed in degrees, and women have found it extremely helpful, particularly when they are feeling like maybe their capacity to get aroused is diminished. This can really be helpful. So use this online resource, because sometimes it's hard to walk into the sex shop down the street. For many women, a store doesn't even exist. So Dame is not only a source of products, but tremendous resource for information. Al has provided resources that are educational and an opportunity to feed back how you're experiencing her products. So please go to Dame, look at it, explore it. Can people access you, Al, if they go to dame.com? Is there a way they can contact you?
If you want to contact me personally, I'd go over to Instagram.
Okay.
We're Dame Products at Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But I am personally a fine human on Instagram because I'm
Got
Alex
it.
Fine and I'm a
Yep.
human. And that's that's probably the best way to, you just got to slide into my DMs, as they say. But you can also reach out to us at heythere@dameproducts.com and it'll get to
Great.
me.
Great. Alrighty. So, I don't know if you know this, Al, but I usually ask my guests at the end of our show what gives them pleasure. And it's been so interesting to hear what women talk about. Very few go to the world of sex, they go elsewhere. If you weren't going to talk about sexual pleasure, what gives you pleasure in your life?
So when you asked it, it's my children. My children give me so much joy. I could cry. Like they just give me so
Right,
much joy. I
right,
love my kids and I love that feeling of like, coming home where they're so excited to see you and,
great, great, good.
my kids.
Alrighty. Do you think there's anything else that we need to share with the audience before we say so long?
Oh, it was just such a joy and a pleasure. Oh, you know what? You know what
What?
we didn't talk about?
What?
It is advertising. But maybe you just have to have me come back and we can talk about the taboos and the challenges of advertising in this category and what that says about society.
Absolutely. It's even on my list of questions, but we didn't get there.
We
So
didn't get
you
there,
are
and it's too
invited
big.
back.
I'll see
It's
you
so
later.
big. Excellent. So please, everyone, go to dame.com, read about Alexandra Fine. She is a remarkably accomplished woman of no determined age. She just is ageless. And
I'm 37.
Al, thank you so much for bringing these products to the world and letting people know that pleasure is not a privilege, but something that everyone should have access to.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Novatt, for all your work and support over the years, helping
My
me make
pleasure.
safe products.
Alrighty, and thank you to Jen Hammoud and Maddie Rosenberg, my co-producers, and to David Hoffman, my editor, and to the Epicurean who provides me with tea and delicious goodies before and after the show. And so please come down and experience it yourself. And until the next episode of GynoCurious, please stay well, listen to your instincts and intuitions. They are the greatest of teachers. And remember, share the show with your friends, because I want everyone to be able to talk about sex the way that Al and I talked about sex today.
Mhm.